Video talks about the last tab in the model stochastic simulation workbook that the SOA provides. And just looking at part one here, I don't know how much you're actually trying to have you digest from this third tab. But just looking at this, I think you're just supposed to run the macro and just see that most of the time you don't get a payout with the GMAB. If your expected return is higher like this, your sigma is like this, but sometimes you do get a payout when it matures. And then you fiddle with the numbers, and obviously if the return increased, then this is less likely to have a payout. Or if this is to increase, then you're more likely to get a payout, etc. The second tab right here, you just change this from being risk neutral or real world. By the way, you have to have this being on the risk neutral to be able to do this part right here. And I think they're just trying to show you that the risk neutral, when you run this, the risk neutral is a lot closer to the closed form formula than compared to the real world, because risk neutral is used for pricing and real world is not. And that I think that's the only takeaway that you get really from running this macro. And then doing this one, when you run this macro, it's like running part two, but running it 10 times. And when you get the average of those results, then you get even closer to the closed form formula. I think there was something that changed from this. It might be from me fiddling with the numbers on the other tabs, but really this was really close to this number right here, the closed form formula. There's a couple of questions on the exams. I think like the fall 2020 exam on question 4C, I think that's what it was, but you'll really see that it has a close match. It's good practice for these three tabs. And then the only one right here, this part 4, it shows like a histogram of the payouts, or how much money the insurer will lose. Most of the time it's negative, saying that the insurer is going to make money, but the only thing they wanted to show here is that it has a really fat tail. And so if there's a question that said like, hey, the GMAB is normally distributed, and obviously that's false, because right here we have just this really long fat tail, and you could get really, really bad scenarios, especially depending on, like, let's say this expected return was a bit lower or the sigma was higher, then it's just going to get fatter and fatter of a tail and more likely for the insurer to lose money. Anyways, that's about it for this. I don't know how many real takeaways you get from this, other than just being kind of familiar with the basics of a GMAB and the variable annuities.